We've spent over 10 years on air, shaping a generation of action motorsports, and now we're changing the game again. The best motorsports, the best action sports, and the best of pop culture with some epic guests thrown in. I am Jim Beaver, and this is the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Hold on tight, the misadventure is just getting started. Welcome to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Yes, we have a fun show lined up today. Stepping out of the box, you know, we talk a lot of motorsports, a lot of action sports, but yeah, you know me, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I love combat sports, and today we're gonna shake it up a little bit. We've had some amazing female pro wrestlers on the show in the past. Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, had some phenomenal guests. Man, I'm just going down the list, getting mind blank because we've had so many amazing female pro wrestlers on the show. But yes, today we're doing something with WOW because they've got a big debut on Pluto TV, and we have none other than Kandi Krush on the show today. Krush has, previously been a, national level synchronized swimmer, professional boxer who is undefeated, by the way, in her professional boxing career. Now she is a wrestler for WOW. So definitely going to have her on the show. Looking forward to that interview. I think you guys are going to love it. But before we jump into that, we got to talk a little bit about everything else going on in the world. Once again, next week, Mint 400. I will be on site in Las Vegas. If you are heading out to the Mint, make sure to hit me up. DM me on social media. It's at JimBeaver15. Let me know you're going to be out there. I'd love to meet up with listeners to the show and maybe have a beer, something along the way. So definitely hit me up if you're going to the Mint. And if you're not, make sure and tune into the live stream next Friday and Saturday. Friday is the Limited and the UTV race. That is going to be on Friday the 10th. And then Saturday the 11th, the big dogs, the Unlimited trucks, they are in action as well. I will be one of the hosts of the live stream, so definitely make sure and tune into that. And, man, it's going to be one hell of a time. My boy Tim Montana, he is on Fremont. He's on Fremont Street next Thursday, doing a concert and show Thursday evening. It's free, so if you're in the Vegas area, make sure and go see Tim in Montana. Definitely not going to hate that. Honestly, later this week, we've got a big Mint 400 preview of here on the show. So make sure and, subscribe to our podcast feed over there on Apple, Spotify. Hit up the website, JimBeaver15.com, because, if you do that, you're going to be able to catch that Mint 400 preview. Trust me, it's a good one. My good buddy Matt Martelli's joining me, and we dissect all the classes, the event, what's going on, and it's definitely going to be one hell of a preview of the Mint 400, the official preview, might you will. Definitely head over, check that out, and get in on it. So I want to talk a little bit about my eNASCAR program. Yes, changing things up. Those of you that follow me know I've got an eNASCAR program sanctioned with NASCAR, an officially sanctioned. I own a franchise agreement with NASCAR. Yes, a little old me, one of 20 teams in the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola series. And my team is doing really, really well. Got two new drivers, one of them being Malik Ray, who finished second at Daytona and now followed up with a fourth here at the Milwaukee Mile. And you know what? Malik is currently leading the points. That's right, Jim Beaver Esports leading the points championship for eNASCAR. So we've been in the team points, but not the individual points. So, yes, huge for us. Malik has just absolutely been slaying, and I'm going to get this guy on the radio show at some point because he is entertaining as all hell. You need to follow him on Twitter. His name is Malik Ray, and he is funny as hell. His Twitch streams are freaking hilarious, man. So we got that. Obviously, we got Supercross that is full tilt. It is cranked. It is going down. We got that going on, and then Man, we got a ton of stuff. I'm really excited this weekend. We've got a big MMA fight. I am going to rent this. We're going to throw a barbecue at my race shop. We tend to do that around big events. But man, John Bones Jones against Cyril Gagne fighting for the heavyweight title. Johnny Bones is coming out of retirement. Looking forward to seeing that. And then we've also got Valentina Shevchenko, who I'm a massive fan of. The Bullet, they call her. She is defending her title as well. So, and then the undercard looks like almost like it should be like like the main card. It's crazy. It's a stacked card top to bottom for prelims and everything else. Huge fighters. This is probably, in the last year or two, probably the biggest UFC pay-per-view in a very long time. So got that going on. And I got to say, big night last night from my Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant debuting for the Suns. The super team, they're calling us. And Kevin Durant debuting for the Suns. We got the W. Devin Booker putting up a huge game, but I know we don't ever talk basketball on the show, but I'm just so damn excited we got Kevin Durant on the Phoenix Suns. And I had to mention it. I had to rub it in just a little bit because, Suns, we're looking pretty good. We're hitting our stride second half of the season. How can you not when you just got Kevin Durant, right? Durant, Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton, man, our big four. It's going to be tough to beat the Suns. So, I don't know why we're talking basketball right now because we never do, but I went down that rabbit hole. So, so I don't know. We got some big IndyCar news, some big Formula One news. There's a chance that I might be out at MotoGP at Circuit of the Americas. That's right. Good chance we might be out there at MotoGP at Circuit of the Americas doing some radio. So really, really excited about that. And, man, there's a lot going on. General Tire, they just announced their big spring promotion. When you purchase 4 qualifying passenger car tires, you get up to a $70 Visa prepaid card by mail. If you want to get in on that promotion, you know what? There is an easy way. That's right. If you're listening to this podcast on the website, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening to it, click the link. It's down there in the footnotes, and you can get up to a $70 rebate when you purchase 4 qualifying General tires. So definitely don't miss out on this opportunity. It's one of the biggest rebates of the year on General Tire, and man, it is definitely time to get some tires. I'm looking out my studio office right now. I'm in Parker, Arizona. Literally 450 feet of elevation. It's the desert. It gets to be 128 to 130 degrees here in the summer. That's not an exaggeration. That's a fact. Look it up. It's that damn hot. Some consider Parker, Arizona hell. And I am looking out my studio window right now, and you know what I'm looking at? Snow on the mountains. And I'm not talking a dusting. I'm talking full snow where if I actually wanted to take my Bronco and my General tires, because GT's going to deliver me to the adventure, all the way up the mountain, I could snow on these mountains, or I could snowboard on these mountains that I'm looking at out my office. Crazy. We had bananas weather here in Parker, Arizona. Literally bananas weather here. Actually, all in the Southwest. The past week or two. It's been crazy. Went to the off-road swap meet this past weekend. Thanks to everybody who came out, bought some of my used race parts and things like that, but did really well. Had a great time. But it rained the whole time, and it was freezing. It was like in the 30s. Like, it was miserable. Normally, it's great weather. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody was in the RVs. We played a lot of dice, Ship Captain and Crew, if you've never played it. Some call it 654, but it's a fun dice game. But we literally sat in the RV when we weren't selling stuff and played dice because it was just miserable conditions outside. Like, I don't know what's going on in the Southwest. I was just talking with my good friends at Kawasaki today, and I think I'm going to get a stand-up at some point over the summer to do some content on. And, the funny part about that is I'm like, normally in March I'd be like, let's go out on a stand-up and let's go have some fun. And then I'm going, I don't even want to talk about being in the water right now. Normally you can this time of year. There's snow on the mountains. Not happening. But looking forward to getting a stand-up jet ski at some point and filming some content for it. But yeah, man, we got a lot going on. Anyways, I'm rambling about a whole lot of nonsense. Don't forget though, we do have the Mint 400 next week, and that's going to be a big one for us next week right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show. But we are going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we are joined on the line by WOW's Kandi Krush right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Making the most of every moment can be demanding, which is why at General Tire, we think you should demand more from your tires. For more than a century, we've made great all-around tires that always deliver the right combination of performance, durability, style, and value. Whether you're looking at the ultra-high-performance summer tires for your street rod or the best-in-class all-weather tire for your family crossover, General Tire delivers for those who demand more from their tires. Find your fit at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, the official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today. Like what you're hearing? Do us a favor and head over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki and never miss another show. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show, joined on the line by somebody who had a massive night last night, Kandi Krush with WOW Women of Wrestling. What is going on, Krush?
What's up? How are you doing, Jim?
I am doing solid, but I got a feeling you got to be on cloud nine. Last night, WOW debuted on Pluto TV, which is huge. You had a big night, man. Take us through what went on, because we got a lot to talk about today. But right now, it is a big day for everybody in Women of Wrestling.
Yes, it's a huge day for women's wrestling. For WOW Women of Wrestling, it's also Women's History Month, so it's just all epic in general. But yes, last night I was able to come home with the win, and that was my wrestling debut. So I really didn't know how it was going to go down. I knew that I had trained as hard as I possibly could, and that's what I believe in more than anything, is that I refuse to be outworked. Champions are made in the trenches, and that's where I live. So I've been putting in work day in and day out, training to make sure I was sharp and ready for Coach Campanelli. And as we see, I definitely was more than ready. And, at the end of the match, she was out cold. I'm feeling great about that. But I also know that she's just one of many epic opponents at WOW. There's so many strong women on our roster. So I can't get too comfortable or complacent. I have to stay working, and I have to stay making progress on my skills, and just be ready to rumble for whoever's ready to go toe-to-toe with me in the ring.
Yeah, well, do you feel like, your debut, you come away with a big win, now all of a sudden, like, the target's on your back, like, you can't slide under the radar anymore, like, people are going to be coming after you now.
Yeah, I believe that with success also comes some burdens, but I have some strong shoulders and some strong knockout power, so I can handle anything that's thrown my way. I take it as it comes. I stay present in the moment. And I think that's why I have had success in the boxing ring and in the wrestling ring. And I plan to just, keep my head down and keep working hard. And a lot of people will talk, a lot of mess. And, I'm not going to let that rattle me. I'm just going to stay focused and do what I do best and just lay it all on the line. I fight with my heart. I lay my heart out there every time I get in the ring. And, nobody can stop me from anything.
Well, and I know, I want to kind of go back, talk a little bit. You mentioned some of your career and things like that. And I mean, you are a true athlete. That's all you've ever known. That's all you've ever done. Kind of want to jump back. I know WOW has got an amazing YouTube channel, and they did kind of a vignette on you and kind of your past. I want to jump into that because I think it lays a groundwork for a lot of people listening in that maybe, aren't familiar with you. But I mean, take us back to the start. I mean, you were an elite level swimmer in synchronized swimming. I mean, take us through that. I mean, just the training there is intense. And then you made the transition to boxing from that. I mean, take us to the beginning because I feel like, your backstory, lays the groundwork for, what we're going to see in WOW.
Yeah, definitely. It is. People always ask me, how did you transition from those sports? Because it seems like they don't quite fit together. But the way I've lived my life since I was born, basically, I hit the ground running. And I want the thing that challenges me the most to be the thing that I focus on. That's what sets my heart on fire. I've always loved athletics. I could swim, actually, before I could walk because I crawled into the pool. My mom was in there. I crawled and fell, and she got me, and I was just swimming ever since. So I fell in love with the water. It was my sanctuary, and I became a national champion in synchronized swimming. I had Olympic dreams, but as you saw on my piece that WOW did on me, it didn't work out because of the environment I was training in. And, many injuries. Like you said, it's an intense sport. So I was in search of the next thing that set my soul on fire, and that happened to be boxing. And I, again, put my entire soul into that. I worked harder than anybody. I refused to be outworked. So I did it that way. I did it my way, and I rose the ranks and turned pro in boxing as well. And, when COVID hit and my boxing gym actually fully shut down, I didn't quite know what to do with myself. So I had this kind of a pipe dream thinking, how could I go to the next thing? What could I focus on next? I needed another challenge. I'm like a salmon. I love to swim upstream. And so I saw some wrestling and I was like, I could probably do that. And, I have confidence going into things and then I back it up with my work ethic. So that's what I did. I saw that WOW was having a tryout, and although I'm comfortable in the boxing ring, I soon found out that the wrestling ring is a totally different experience, but I still went in there with confidence, and I continue to go in with crushed confidence every day, and I'll keep doing that until I can rise the ranks in WOW as well.
Well, and I think that's funny because a lot of people, combat sports is so interesting, and you've kind of hit on two of the big three. I consider you've got MMA, you've got boxing, and you've got professional wrestling. And all three is as much as their similarities, they're so different. And I mean, coming from nothing in boxing, rising to the top, and then turning around and going to wrestling. A lot of people think, oh, that's going to be an easy transition. Well, I mean, you've had to put in some crazy amount of work the past couple of years to get up to speed in professional wrestling and then obviously win in, this debut last night. But, I mean, kind of tell us about that because the training is just crazy different between them.
Yes, the training is grueling. There are some similarities in the fact that both in boxing and in wrestling, you need to have intense levels of conditioning. You're in there. It's basically wrestling feels like running a marathon with somebody on your shoulders. So that's the best way I can put it. But the difference between the two sports, the biggest, most surprising thing for me was that, okay, in boxing, if your feet leave the canvas, we've got a problem. That means either you're knocked down or knocked out. Luckily, I've never had either happen to me, but in wrestling, you have to get used to the fact that your feet will leave the ground and you're going to be thrown around, picked up, slammed back down. It took me a lot of getting used to. I had the conditioning. There's a lot of strength training that goes into it as well, but in boxing, I'm not picking people up. And so also in boxing, you're wrestling somebody that is probably within 5 pounds of your weight. Yeah. You're fighting somebody that's 5 pounds in your weight. But in wrestling, I will have to go up against some huge opponents that are maybe 2 to 3 times my size because, WOW has women of every body type from every background. And so in order to get to that championship belt, I'm going to have to wrestle pretty much everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, you talked about size difference, things like that, and one of the biggest things you talked about, you having to learn to leave your feet, things like that. The first time I was ever in a wrestling ring, I think everybody on the outside sees it and they see the way you guys bounce off ropes and things like that. And they think that's easy. That's fun. Let me tell you, hitting the ropes is not fun. Those things hurt. You're running those at full speed. It's like everybody outside is like, oh yeah, it's like a trampoline. I'm like, no, not at all.
Yeah, that is a huge difference too. So I'm used to boxing ropes, which are much looser, so that you can use the ropes to evade, kind of like the Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope concept. And once I got into the wrestling ring, those suckers are hard. Those ropes are tight, and I do love hitting the ropes now. But when I started, I had bruises straight across my back for weeks. And so it's pretty crazy how your body can adapt, though. But it does hurt. Everything hurts all the time. So, along with being on top of our training, we also have to be on top of our recovery so we can have longevity in wrestling, because it is really grueling on the body.
Yeah. Well, and here's something, because I know, kind of doing some of my research, you talk about, your background in synchronized swimming and how you went from, you transitioned into synchronized swimming because of the artistic and the art form. And I look at pro wrestling, and as intense and as crazy and as grueling as it is, there's so much of an art form to professional wrestling, and it's almost like a dance. You could say the same thing about boxing, you know what I mean? But was that part of the draw for you, because it is an art form in of itself?
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the biggest draws. So wrestling is sports entertainment, and I wanted to be able to combine my artistry and my athleticism, and that's another reason I was drawn to wrestling. As well as I just love being under the bright light and hearing the crowd go crazy. That was one of the best things, transitioning from amateur boxing to pro boxing. And so I'm like, I've seen wrestling. The crowd is even more like rowdy and behind you in wrestling. And that feeling it's really unrivaled. And to be able to go out there and give the crowd everything I've got, and then they give me everything they've got, is just this beautiful marriage of energy. And one of my favorite things is, seeing a little girl reaching out for me. In my match against Coach Campanelli, I got knocked down a few times, but to be able to look out into the crowd and see that little girl looking up to me, who's also looking to me for inspiration, so that if I get back up, she knows when she gets knocked down, she can get back up too. So that gives me the extra strength and the motivation to get back up, no matter how bad I'm hurting, no matter how tired I am in the ring. I'm always going to get back up. In boxing, we say, knock down 7 times, stand up 8, and I'm always going to get up that 8th time.
So, man, that's pretty awesome, and, well, and I got to ask too, like, I feel like your personality, just this interview here, the one thing I love, about boxing, beforehand, is you get to see people's personalities, you know what I mean, beforehand, before they even get in the ring. And I feel like wrestling is even so much more than that, and that's got to give you some excitement, because you can tell those stories. You can reach out to those, those young girls in the audience, you can give them that inspiration, and I think that's one thing great when you hold a microphone. There's so much power in that, and you feel that way about, pro wrestling and WOW?
Yes, I 1,000% feel that way. And the best part about WOW is that it really embraces empowerment. That's our biggest message behind why we do what we do and why we put our bodies and our hearts on the line every day, is so that we can empower the future generations coming up, especially those, we're all women's wrestling company. So especially those little girls who maybe think that, like, it's not okay to lean into your strength. We're here to show them that it is. Like, that is the way that the world is going, and I love that now, but there's so many glass ceilings that have had to be broken in order for women to just be respected in the sport of wrestling. And WOW really embraces that, and we keep pushing those feelings. And we keep showing all the little girls that they can do this too. And because we have such diverse backgrounds on our WOW roster, then every little girl is able to see, whether they're in the crowd or watching from their living room, from a different country even, because we're actually global, then every little girl is able to see somebody who looks like them, and they can aspire to do that too. And even if it's not wrestling, if it's just going for their dreams, they know that as long as you work hard and you just, forget about what everybody says and do what you want to do, you can be whatever or whoever you want to be.
Well, and I think that's one thing that's amazing about WOW is, I mean, I've been a wrestling fan my entire life, and, you go back a couple of decades and women's wrestling, you hate to say it, but it was kind of a sideshow with kind of some novelty matches and things like that. And I feel like WOW has empowered and elevated women's wrestling, you know what I mean? And it's showcasing personalities, but the athleticism and the talent, you know what I mean? And the strength of all these different women that are competing in WOW. And I think it's pretty remarkable for you to be part of an organization that's really taken women's wrestling to the next level.
Yeah, I definitely feel lucky to be a part of, in particular, WOW, but also in, just to be a part of wrestling, to experience that, because, I actually didn't grow up watching a lot of wrestling when I was little. I was too busy with my head upside down in the water. But as I've grown to love the sport and learn about the history of it, I am so happy that I'm coming into it at a time where women are really respected and given the opportunity that I'm given with WOW. And, to put forth the message that, like you said, we're not a sideshow. And, matter of fact, we're the main event. And so at WOW, it's all women's wrestling. And like you said, very athletic and from all different sports backgrounds, backgrounds of all walks of life too. And so that's what makes us better too. Iron sharpens iron. You've heard that before. And so having to go against such athletic opponents, I'm not the only former pro athlete, there. So I was a pro boxer, but we also have pro weightlifters that have come in, basketball players. We have divers, like every sport that you can think of. We have somebody pretty much from that sport, that athletic background. And so I really have to be, bring my A game in order to go toe-to-toe with them. And I'll do it every time, and I'll go toe-to-toe with anybody, because I like to say no need to be scared when you're skilled. And that's why I work hard, so that I can have my skills to fall back on. But it is a full roster of just hardcore athletes, and that is what is so exciting. And I think that's one reason that, women's wrestling is not just for women to watch and women to feel empowered, but it's entertaining for everybody, because you won't believe the athleticism you see, and the entertainment value is just through the roof.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So you mentioned, a couple things there, and I want to put you on the spot on a couple things. Well, that's easy, not really on the spot. That's not my style. But, okay, so you've been a professional swimmer, been a professional boxer, now you're a professional wrestler. All right, so give me the hardest part about being a swimmer versus a boxer versus a wrestler. What's the hardest of each of the three sports? Not comparable, I just mean what's the hardest part of each of the sports?
Oh, let's see. Well, physically hardest part about synchronized swimming is that you have to be, so while you are completely in debt of oxygen, you have to be performing and in sync with like 7 other women. And to be able to do that takes so much mental fortitude and focus. You have to stay present in the moment. And also, it's like a mind game. You have to talk yourself down, because your body will tell you like, quit. Or your mind will be playing tricks on you while you're doing it, but you have to push through. And so that is, to me, the ultimate endurance sport. And then you also, have to look beautiful while you're doing it. Come up and smile when you really feel like you almost drown. So for me, it's that balance of that. For boxing, I mean, all three are endurance sports. For boxing, obviously, if you take a really nasty hit, let's say a kidney shot, recovering from that, you need to learn how to absorb body shots and recover. I think that is one of my superpowers, though, coming into the wrestling ring, because I'm absorbing blows, even if I'm getting slammed into the ring or if somebody is delivering a blow to my body. I've developed pretty good core armor So I'm able to absorb those and recover quickly. So I would say recovery in boxing, getting hit with those hard punches. On a non-physical level for boxing, I would say as a woman, just breaking into a still male-dominated sport and being respected, you have to work twice as hard and be twice as good just to be respected and accepted there. So I would say that's one thing I had to overcome in boxing. And then in wrestling, I never did gymnastics or anything. I'm not a flipper. I'm not a flyer. So I would say that part about my feet leaving the ground, that was the hardest thing to get used to, just knowing that I'm going to take this hit. I'm going to take this fall, and it's going to hurt. But I also love contact sports. So I also kind of get a rise out of that. But yeah, they're all different and unique in their own way, but at the same time, they are all, a performance sports entertainment of sorts.
Yeah, and it's crazy to hear you talk and talk about synchronized swimming and, the toughest parts, and then boxing, because I feel like it's all laid the groundwork on this path you're on to where you're at now in WOW. And it's actually pretty amazing, because it's like the hardest parts of those, it can be applied to wrestling. And I think it's awesome. I'm really excited to see, to see your path in wrestling and see you work your way up the ranks of WOW.
Thank you. Yeah, I do always say that, even though I am, new to wrestling, like you said, everything I've done in my past has led me up to this point. So I'm new to, the sport of wrestling, but I'm not new to the hard work. I'm not new to being able to take a blow and get back up. I'm not new to a lot of the components that go into being a great wrestler. So I hope to be able to continue in this direction so that one day I am considered one of the greats.
Well, before we let you go, obviously I want to circle back on Pluto TV. Obviously, making the debut on Pluto TV last night. I know we've got a ton of wrestling to come on Pluto weekly. Give us the details on that. And also, I think some wrestlers from time to time take over the WOW social channels, correct? I think you were last night?
Yes. So I did a WOW live stream along takeover on our WOW Superheroes Instagram while we stream along with our Pluto, which just launched March 1st. So every Wednesday now we will be having our new episodes airing there, as well as on demand after that. So now there's no excuse. If you miss it, you can still catch it, follow along. We have some really epic stories following our own personal stories and our histories, and following every wrestler's growth throughout their, from starting with WOW to where they are now. You can get all of the info on Pluto TV.
Awesome. Well, Krush, congrats on the big win last night, and looking forward to watching this season play out there on Pluto TV.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was definitely a fun interview with Kandi Krush. Definitely make sure and check out WOW on social media. They got an amazing YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter. Man, they're all over the place. Check out Kandi Krush's social media as well. And, once again, tune in on Pluto TV. We're going to take a short commercial break here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show, and we'll be back with more right after this. When it's time to replace the tires on your vehicle, General Tire delivers the tires you need for both your next big adventure and your daily commute. Whether you need all-season traction, lasting tread wear, or a quiet drive, General Tires are designed to deliver whatever life brings your way. From all-season ultra-high-performance tires for passenger cars and crossovers to extreme all-season mud terrain and tires for light trucks and SUVs, General Tire delivers great performance. To find your ideal tire, visit GeneralTire.com. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or @VisionWheel on social media to learn more. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Social media? Yeah, that's on lock. It's at Jim Beaver 15 on all major platforms, and hit up at General Tire and at Kawasaki USA while you're there. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. I know we switched it up this week, changed the game, did a little bit different, went into the pro wrestling side of things. Big thanks to Kandi Krush for coming on the show. Big thanks to WOW Wrestling for hooking it up. Good stuff. Definitely check them out over on Pluto TV. And you race fans, I know we switched it up this week on the Jim Beaver Show. But there's more to come this week yet again. We have my good friend Matt Martelli with the Mint 400. He is coming on the show tomorrow. We will have a massive drop in regards to the Mint 400. It's a full preview of the race, all the classes, what to expect, the action, our picks to win. It is definitely the preview that you guys want. So if you're a race fan and you tuned in this far to this episode, make sure and tune in tomorrow for a big Mint 400 preview. I will be on site at the Mint 400 next week in Las Vegas. I'll be hosting a live stream Friday and Saturday. Make sure and tune in. Check that out. And then obviously on Thursday is a Big Tech and Contingency Day. My boy Tim Montana, he is playing a concert down there on Fremont Street. So you want to check that out. And yeah, man, there's a lot going on, in regards to the Mint. Obviously, on this show, I do want to let you guys know. We'll get into it more on the next show, but we are no longer going to be in national syndication as of, that is right, that's a horrible drum roll. But as of March 31st, so more details on that to come. The good news is more video content, more podcasts, more killer, what do I normally say? All killer, no filler? Well, the unfortunate part is the show has become a lot of filler in national syndication, and we're getting away from that. Back to the interviews, back to the meat of things, and that's what you guys want. That's what you expect from this show. That's why we've been in business as long as we have. So, yes, that's what's going on here on the show. Do have to give a shout out to our amazing partners, man. General Tire, couldn't do it without them. And you know what? This week starts General Tire's big spring promotion. Make sure and hit the link down there in the footnotes of the show because you can get up to $70 off a brand new set of General Tires right here, right now, this month. Do it. Also, Kawasaki. What can I say? We go around the country to some amazing Kawasaki events and doing a lot of content with Kawasaki, and I absolutely love it. We got Vision Wheel, good friends at Dirtfish Rally School, good friends at Clean Freak, GSP, XTV Axles, Rigid Industries, the best stem lighting on the planet, and man, so many other partners that keep us going. Big Green Egg, our friends at iRacing, lots of support in the show, and thank you guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you for letting us keep on doing what we're doing. So, give me a follow at Jim Beaver 15 on social media. I got a lot of stuff we're going to be doing at the Mint 400. Probably going to do a vlog for the entire thing. So lots of good stuff. So definitely make sure check that out. Follow me on social. YouTube channel is popping. We've got over 600 new subscribers in the last week alone, or last 2 weeks, excuse me. YouTube shorts are great. We're popping over there. Make sure you go and subscribe on YouTube, because when we flip the switch here, starting in the 1st of April, we're going to have a ton of radio content, video component to it, all dropping YouTube every single week. Yeah, you guys want to get in on that. That's for sure. So cool stuff happening all around. I do want to thank you guys once again for tuning in. Make sure and catch our big Mint 400 preview next week, and tomorrow. And I'm going to sign off for today right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. See you next time. And that's a wrap for this edition of the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Thanks for listening. Be sure and head to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the show, and follow at Jim Beaver 15, at General Tire, and at Kawasaki USA on social media. Itching for more? JimBeaver15.com has all the latest. We'll see you next time.